guys, Dave from Timber Time Outdoors. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In this video, we are going to sharpen the MS 500i, and we're going to do that with one of Stihl's 2-in-1 sharpeners. So kind of first impressions, we're going to take a look at it, see what I think of it. I've never used it, but stay with us, guys, and we're going to learn together if this is the real deal or if this is some gadget. So stay with us, guys, and remember, keep it in the timber.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now.
All right, let's get right to it, guys. So, Stihl Easy File 2-in-1 sharpener. In this video, I'm gonna basically walk you through my learning curve. So I've never used this thing. A bunch of you subscribers have told me to go get this thing because I've complained that I hate sharpening saws. I absolutely hate it. I'd rather spend money on a brand new chain and throw the chain out, which I know is really stupid, but I hate sharpening chains that much. And so I'm hoping that this thing is gonna take that pain away and make it a little easier for me. So let's jump right into it here. Let's learn together and see what this thing's all about. All right, a few tidbits about the 2-in-1 sharpener. So it's about a $50 item. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it from your Stihl dealer. I happen to get this from my Stihl dealer. And again, it was just under 50 bucks, I think. One thing I want to point out is you need to make sure that you buy the right one. Okay, so I have two saws. You guys know this. I have a MS 500i, and I also have an MS 261. And I have chains for both of those. And if you look at these, you can see that they're different. Right there, this is for the 500i. That one says 3/8. This is for the 261, and this one says 325, okay? So that difference makes these gaps and spacing and whatever on this file a little bit different. So in other words, you can't buy one for a 3/8 chain and then use it on the 325 chain. So you need two different ones, okay? I probably will just end up, if I like this thing, I'll probably end up getting one for my 261 and just have them separate. So be aware of that. You know, when you go on the site and you read about this thing, it lists out some features and benefits. You know, basically says this is geared towards a guy like me, the weekend warrior, you know. So I'm not a professional chainsaw user. I use them an awful lot in my spare time, but I'm not a pro. So I think a lot of you that watch these videos are in the same shoes I am. Maybe some of you don't like sharpening like me, but anyhow, it's geared towards the weekend warrior. What is very unique about this thing is that it sharpens both the tooth and it also sharpens the depth gauge, or I guess it's called the raker. That's something I actually didn't know. So one of the reasons that maybe when I sharpen a chain doesn't work that good is that I have not been sharpening that raker, right? So some of you are probably laughing now, well, duh. But it's something that I learned in the process of buying this, that's why they call it a 2-in-1, is it sharpens both the blade and the depth gauge all in one stroke. So that's kind of nice, saves you a little time. One thing they claim, which I'm kind of excited about, is that it's very ergonomic. So that's one thing that I don't like about a file, is that for whatever reason, old hands, arthritis, whatever, after, back and forth so many times, it starts to, it's a little bit painful for me. So I'm hoping that this is going to improve on that, that ergonomics. It says it will. You do get a bonus file in here, so I'll show that when I open up the package. And it claims that it's easy to hold the angle correctly, and that's another thing that I really struggle with the file, is I don't quite get that angle right and so forth. So that's kind of what the marketing is on it. So let's tear into it and get after it, and we'll learn together whether this is a gimmick or if it's the real deal. Okay, let's open up the package and take a look. So some kind of first impressions is that it seems really well made. The fit and finish on it is really, really good. So you can see here this big flat, it's kind of a unique file shape. That is what sharpens that depth gauge. And then of course here you have your round file that sharpens the tooth. And you can see there's two of them. And just kind of rubbing my hands across it, really, really sharp. As I move back and forth, it's very tacky. So I feel like, these are going to be a real quality file. you know, something that's not going to dull up right away, but we'll see about that. And then you can see all these different bars here. They're there to kind of help you guide as you know, do the stroke. Ergonomically, this thing is a lot easier to hang on to than a file too. I can kind of see that. Gives you an arrow. It shows you which way to move it. So, you know, kind of first impressions as I take it out of the package, it seems pretty solid. Okay, so in the process of, you know, trying to learn how to use this, there's some neat little pictures here, basically the instructions, and it kind of shows you a saw. And then look, this is basically a top view, right? So you're looking down at the saw, and it shows you, you know, the angle and how to stroke it across the chain. Okay? And then there's an arrow up here on the direction as well as here. If I flip this over, rotate it around, you'll see that this is the opposite situation. You know, you use this side for one side of the chain, you use this side for the other side of the chain. So that's kind of slick. I really like that. So let's get to it. Let's see how it goes across the blades. So one of the things I like to do is I always mark, just put a little Sharpie mark on the tooth that I start with so that I know as I rotate this thing around, I'm good. I like to lock the brake so that it doesn't slide around on me. So let's get this thing set on here, and we'll talk about it a little bit. So you can kind of see there that I'm lined up with the angle, and that depth gauge is touching as well. So I think this is going to work really well. It's very intuitive on how to use it. So let's take off some metal. Ooh. Yeah, that really grabs. These are very, very sharp. And I like how, you know, it's actually fairly smooth. The ergonomics is outstanding. Like my hands, I don't really have to grip it all that hard. And this piece right here, this stabilizes it really nice. You know, it's got so many points of contact with the saw. So the top of the blade, the raker, and this one is also in contact. So it's super stable. Boy, I really like this. At least in this direction it is. And you can see there it's kind of taken down there, a little bit. It hasn't really done much to the raker. Maybe I gotta push a little harder. Let's keep trying. But boy, that is smooth. I'll tell you, this is a lot nicer than a file. You know, it's still a manual process, but it's so smooth. And I feel like I'm on the right angle. You got so many parallel surfaces, and you can see the angle of that tooth. Got great visual. Ooh, yeah. Very sticky. You know, compared to that, you can tell it's all rounded off. You know, it's grabbing my fingertip really well. Okay, I've got the saw flipped around. Now I should be able to push as I'm sharpening. And I'm right-handed here, so it's a little difficult to do with the camera kind of in between my arms. So we'll give it a go here. And I know I've said this a bunch already, but I mean, it's just so smooth. It's so easy with all those points of contact with the blade. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact. You know, you really can't tip this way. You're so stable. You could mess it up tilting this way, I suppose, but you know, you just have such a nice visual. There's such a good, you have so many parallel lines here. It's pretty hard to get off. Oh God, that is so nice. I mean, just tacky. All right, so let's we'll speed this up here and we'll finish up. All right, we're on the last tooth here. You can see that's where I started. She feels really good. Let's get it into some wood. All right, guys, we're out here in the mini wood yard. Got a little rain to deal with here, but want to see how well this thing works. So got her all sharpened up. I'm going to tear into some oak logs, and then we'll come back here and give it kind of an assessment of how I think it did. Alright guys, let's wrap this video up. As you can see, 500i with a sharp blade. It's just an amazing saw. Super easy to use. I would say this is definitely something you should try for 50 bucks. I'm a fan. I don't know if I'll ever like sharpening saws, but it definitely makes it a hell of a lot easier. So definitely a thumbs up on this one, guys. So hey, if you like this video, if you learned something, give it a like, send it to your friends, and you know, subscribe if you like this kind of thing. So, all right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Remember, everybody, keep it in the timber. Bye-bye.